We are here to fight the Tamil genocide. The Tamils of Sri Lanka are getting killed by their own government, the Sri Lankan government. And we're here to protest the IMF potential loan to the government of Sri Lanka. For those of you who don't know, Sri Lanka is a small country just below India, and it's made up of two ethnic groups. One, the Sinhalese, who control the government, and the second group are the Tamils. And since 1948, when the British left the mess as usual, they left these two groups together, and the Sinhalese people have been killing, murdering, raping, burning, and marginalizing the Tamil people. So we're here today to ask you to please help us. The Sri Lankan government right now is in the middle of a genocide. It has escalated since the president of Sri Lanka, Rajapaksa, was elected, and he is asking for an IMF loan. Over the last month, more than 7,000 civilians have been killed. The Sri Lankan government apologizes to no one. They don't say that civilians are collateral damage. They don't apologize for using white phosphorus on civilians. They don't apologize for using cluster bombs on civilians. They don't apologize for the new concentration camps that they have made for Tamil people that they have gotten into their territory. They don't apologize for anything. They say it's a war on terror, and we know that's not true. Look at these pictures. They are children, they are women, they are old people, they are being starved to death. Just last week, Rajapaksa, the Sri Lankan government, denied access to the United Nations humanitarian mission. He denied access of food to 300,000 civilians who are sitting in a very small area out on the right near the ocean. And today we just heard terrible news that the Sri Lankan Navy is manning an attack now on 10,000 civilians on the beach. So do you think the IMF should give them money? No! You know, in the bylaws of the IMF it says we will not give money to any government who will use it for militaristic purposes. Well, it's very clear that the Sri Lankan government wants this money for their military budget. And we are asking you, everybody out here who's not part of this rally and can hear me, please block the IMF loan to this fascist Nazi regime of Sri Lanka.
This economic crisis that we are in is because of those in power that choose to support greed rather than need. And I say needs come first. You know, millions of people around the world on this day are walking out of a thing called the church and have no clue of the corporate greed and greed that's happening at the highest levels of government in this country. And I say if you're going to call yourself a follower of the one who turned over the table of the money changers, if you're going to call yourself a follower of Jesus, then every single last church should have walked out of their building today and come here, because this is where Jesus would be, not in their padded pews.
Right now, all over D.C. and Virginia, people are losing their homes to the mortgage crisis. People are losing their jobs to the economic crisis. And immigrants are living in fear of raids and deportations. The only people who don't have any crisis are the banks and the corporations being bailed out by our government and our tax dollars.
And right here in D.C., we are at war with neoliberalist policies every day, as our city government tries to privatize all of our public services, to give public land to private companies to redevelop as condos for the rich. We are facing these problems every day, and so this fight is about us as well, and about reclaiming our space and our economy right here in D.C. as well.
Obama, don't lie to me. They shall bring democracy.
Right now, in Sri Lanka, there is a civil war is going on, and when the Britishers ruled Sri Lanka, there are two countries, Tamils and Sinhalese. They are different in language. One is Sinhalese Buddhism, the other one is Tamil and Christian and Hindus. So after the Britishers left, they thought they can live together, but the Sinhalese majority is systematically suppressing, colonizing the Tamil area, and the civil war is going on. The money IMF is loaning to Sri Lanka is going to be used for the civil war by the Sinhalese only military. The thing is, right now Sri Lanka is pretty much close to bankrupt because of the global economy, the military expenditure. It's a huge military expenditure. For the last 30 years they are spending huge money for the civil war. Okay? and so they are in a big hole. So they claim that this money is going to be used for the development of Sri Lanka, including the Tamil region. The concentration camps for Tamils, Sri Lankan government is not allowing any neutral observers there. No neutral observers, no Red Cross, and nobody is there. So they can do whatever they want. So why IMF has to give this money without any condition? So obviously this money is going to be used for purchasing arms, weapons.
People always say, oh, we need to connect struggles locally and globally, and there's a lot of rhetoric in there. I just want to emphasize that point, non-rhetorically, but like literally. An example that it took me years to understand. Who knows about Cochabamba, Bolivia? All right. So a lot of us know about Cochabamba, right? Yeah. We know that Bechtel. We know that Bechtel owned the water, and we know that there was a big fight over water privatization and electricity privatization there. It took me a long time to realize that the same company that was buying up Cochabamba's electricity owns Baltimore Gas and Electric, and they tripled their prices last year. I had a $650 fucking gas and electric bill, and I barely used my heat. So it took me a long time to understand that I knew more about this city in Bolivia that I've never been to or otherwise heard anything about, and I wasn't even involved in my own fight. Not only that was draining my money, giving the same company money, but you know was basically forcing people out of their homes trying to pay their electric bills in my city. So it's important. These companies are global. Globalization is the globalization of this. And so it's important that we build local movements that connect with global movements and not just do international solidarity when we're unrelated to our communities, right? Out to all the young people who are working 2 jobs trying to help their parents not get their houses foreclosed on. United States, bought and sold, folks sleeping out on the streets of gold, working family debt piles high, economic homicide. Close the shelters, close the schools, build condos for the lucky few, inflate that real estate balloon, rebuild the city for the silver spoon. They need a new hotel, they need a new convention center and a new stadium. Sound familiar? Unelected, suit and ties in the era of free enterprise, making record profit from the finance boom with the gold taxpayer parachutes, throwing money around the globe, knocking countries over with the heavy load, shock therapy, troops and tricks, predatory economics. It's 2009 and we're racing down to the bottom. It's 2009 and we're racing down to the bottom. Also to all you police officers, take note about the cops up in Boston who've been refusing to kick people out of their houses. Woo! $1 trillion bailout deal. Throw it all on the roulette wheel and unrestricted greed we trust. Come to bust this country's fucked. Bail out the bankers, not the single moms. Take loans from China to pay for the bonds. Give the rich bankers the bailout funds. It'll trickle down like sewage does. It's 2009 and we're racing down to the bottom. It's 2009 and we're racing down to the bottom. For any of us out there who argue that the trickle-down theory doesn't work, we were half wrong. We were 50% wrong because it works really well when bad shit happens. It trickles down really fast. And then these companies gamble all their money away in the global casino. It hits poor people really quickly, but when they get rich. Also worth noting that the U.S. has the largest international debt on the planet by an enormous percentage. And right at the time of the bailout, if folks noticed that the U.S. debt clock ran out of digits, they have a one. Yeah, how's that? The world's greatest debtor nation has got the planet locked in debt repayments, prosecuting petty thieves while their companies do it all legally. The first world elite's imperial dreams made the third world through investment schemes. Now they're starving in a world of food. That's no mistake, it's an attitude. It's 2009 and we're racing down to the bottom. It's 2009 and we're racing racing down to the bottom.
Stop funding genocide!
Stop funding genocide!
Stop funding genocide! Stop funding genocide!
Stop funding genocide!
Stop funding genocide!
Mobile broadcast news.
Free Tamaulipas!
Free struggle!
World struggle!
World struggle!
World struggle!
World struggle!
IMF, shut it down! IMF,
Shut it down!
Concentration camps that they have made for Tamil people that they have gotten into their territory. They don't apologize for anything. They say it's a war on terror, and we know that's not true. Look at these pictures. They are children. They are women. They are and marginalizing the Tamil people. So we're here today to ask you to please help us. The Sri Lankan government right now is in the middle of a genocide. It has escalated since the president of Sri Lanka, Rajapaksa, was elected, and he is asking for an IMF loan. Over the last month, more than 7,000, and it's made up of two ethnic groups. One, the Sinhalese, who control the government, and the second group are the Tamils. And since 1948, when the British left the mess as usual, they left these two groups together, and the Sinhalese people have been killing, murdering, raping, burning. We are here to fight the Tamil genocide. The Tamils of Sri Lanka are getting killed by their own government, the Sri Lankan government. And we're here to protest the IMF potential loan to the government of Sri Lanka. For those of you who don't know, Sri Lanka is a small country just below India, and civilians have been killed. The Sri Lankan government apologizes to no one. They don't say that civilians are collateral damage. They don't apologize for using white phosphorus on civilians. They don't apologize for using cluster bombs on civilians. They don't apologize for the new